All right, today I'm going to be going over Let's Be Rational test review. Number 1, a local newspaper, the Lansing Times, sells advertising space. It charges advertisers according to the fraction of the page their ad will fill. A new restaurant owner purchases ads to run the paper over several days. She bought 2 1/4 page ads, 9 1/10 page ads, and 5 1/3 page ads. What was the total amount of space that she bought? So 1A, I bought 2 1/4, I bought 9 1/10, and 5 1/3. So 2 1/4 is the same as 2 4, which is 1/2. 9 1/10 is the same thing as 9 tenths. And 5 thirds is the same thing literally as 5 thirds. So if I want to find out how much she bought altogether, I would need to add all of this together, finding a common denominator. So I will go with 30. 2 times 15 is 30, 1 times 15 is 15. 10 times 3 is 30, 9 times 3 is 27. 3 times 10 is 30, 5 times 10 is 50. And add all this together, so we have 50, 60, 70, 80, 92 thirds. How many times does 30 go into 90? It goes in there 3 times with a remainder of 2. Put it over my same denominator. I can reduce this by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 30 divided by 2 is 15. So she bought 3 1/5 pages. B, the Comfy Couch furniture store purchased 2.5 pages of advertising upcoming sale for the summer. The store decided to cancel 5/8 of a page. How many pages of advertising the local store actually print? So originally bought 2.5 and then canceled 5/8. Okay, so I'm going to write this going up and down. When I subtract fractions, I need to have a common denominator. I'm going to go ahead and go with 8. 2 times 4 is 8, and 1 times 4 is 4. So 4/8 minus 5/8, I can't do that. So I'm going to have to borrow from my 2, make it a 1, and then I'm going to add 8/8. I chose 8/8 because this was already an 8, so that you have to have a common denominator to add. So that gives me 4/8 plus 8/8 is 12/8. 12/8 minus 5/8 is 7/8. And 1 minus nothing is 1. So they actually purchased 1 7/8 pages. 2. Connor's father bought 4.5 pounds of chocolate to make s'mores. He estimates that he will need 1/4 of a pound of chocolate to make each s'more. How many s'mores can he make with the chocolate he purchased? Remember, we talked about if we can't decide if it's division or multiplication, the first thing you want to try to think of is, am I trying to make a bunch of 1/4 pieces from this 4.5? If that's true, it's division. If I'm trying to figure out what is 1/4 of this, that's going to be multiplication. And remember, if you can't decide, do both. Then look at the answers and see which answer makes sense. But in this case, I am trying to take that 4.5 and I'm trying to make a bunch of little 1/4 pieces. So I'm going to divide. When I'm dividing fractions, I have to go ahead and change this to an improper fraction. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1 is 9 over 2 divided by 1/4. Notice I didn't try to do 2 things at once because that's usually when mistakes happen. When we're dividing fractions, don't ask why. Flip the second one and multiply. So I'm going to flip the second one and, 1 and multiply. I can look at my cross numbers to see if I can reduce it all. 2 goes into 2 once, 2 goes into 4 twice. That gives me 18 over 1. I would get the same answer if I didn't do that. I would just have to reduce at the end. So I can make 18 s'mores. 3. Sammy's mother bought 3.5 pounds of pecans. Sammy ate 1/8 of the pecans before he went to bed. A, how many pounds of pecan did Sammy eat? So again, am I trying to make a whole bunch of 1/8 pieces? That would be division. If I'm trying to figure out what is 1/8 of this, that's multiplication. And in this case, he ate 1/8 of them. So I'm going to multiply 3.5 times 1/8 Again, when I multiply fractions, I have to change this to an improper fraction. 7 times 1 is 7, 2 times 8 is 16, so he ate 7/16 of a pound. B says, how many pounds of pecans were left? Well, if we started with 3.5 and we ate 7/16, we're going to take away that 7/16 that we ate. To do that, we need to have a common denominator. 16 works, so 2 times 8 is 16, 1 times 8 is 8. 8/16 minus 7/16 is 1/16. 3 minus nothing is 3. So he has 3 and 1/16 pounds left. Make sure you're labeling your answers for full credit. Number 4, we have n minus 3/5 equals 7/20. This is where I usually will have you guys write an easy problem underneath it so you know what to do. I could do n minus 2 equals 3. Everybody knows in here that this is 5 because 5 minus 2 is 3. So if that's 5, I would do 3 plus 2 to get 5. So if I'm doing this plus this to get this, that means I do this plus this to get this. So 7/20 plus 3/5. If I'm adding fractions, I must have a common denominator. 5 times 4 is 20, 3 times 4 is 12. 7/20 plus 12/20 is 19/20. So n equals 19/20. I must see this as well for full credit. And that is C. Number 5, new page. Number 5 says 1/4 times n equals 12. I'm going to write a problem underneath it that I understand. 4 times n equals 8. I know that this is 2 because 4 times 2 is 8. So to get to 2, I would do 8 divided by 4 gives me 2. So if this divided by this gives me this, then this divided by this gives me this. So 12 divided by 1/4 is going to give me n. There's part of my answer. I'm going to put that 12 over 1. When dividing fractions, don't ask why. Flip the second and multiply. So I'm going to change this to 4 over 1 and multiply, which gives me 48, which is B. 6. N plus 1/4 equals 13 over 20. And again, I'm going to write a simple one underneath. Something plus 2 equals 5. Well, this is 3. I would do 5 minus 2 to get 3. So if this minus this gives me this, then this minus this gives me this. So 13/20 minus 1/4. Get my common denominator. 4 times 5 is 20. 1 times 5 is 5. So 13/20 minus 5/20 gives me 8/20 as my answer, which is C. Number 7. 4 divided by 1/4 equals n. There's nothing to really do here to figure out. You don't have to write a red problem here. It just gave you a problem. 4 divided by 1/4. So I just put 4 over 1 divided by 1/4. When dividing fractions, don't ask why. Flip the second and multiply. $16, which is C. Number 8. 8 through 11, it just says find the value of each quantity, show your work. So this is where you're going to have to know your terms. You have to know that sum means add, product means multiply, difference means subtract, quotient means divide. You're going to have to know those terms. So 8 wants the sum of 2.5 and 1/3. I like to work my addition problems up and down. My common denominator is going to be 6. I could pick a bit different number, but I'd have to reduce at the end. 3 times 2 is 6. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 1 times 3 is 3. 3, 6 plus 2, 6 is 5, 6. 2 plus nothing is 2. So 2 and 5, 6. Number 9. The difference of 2.5 and 1/3. Same problem, except it asks for difference instead of the sum. So I'm going to have to know to subtract. So rename these the same way I did before. 3, 6 minus 2, 6 is 1, 6. 2 minus 0 is 2. 10. Same again. This time it wants the product. 2.5 times 1/3. To multiply fractions, I have to change this to an improper fraction. 5 over 2 times 1 over 3. That gives me 5/6. And the last one, 11, quotient, stands for division. I'm going to change this to an improper fraction as my first step. I'm not going to try to do 2 steps at once. I'm going to do that one thing and rewrite the problem. Now, when we divide fractions, don't ask why. Flip the second to multiply. Two goes into 15 7 times with a remainder of 1. The denominator stays the same, so you end up with 7.5. I hope this is helpful. Please see me before the test if you need help.